Hi guys, welcome back to my page. It's your girl A the Poet. Thank you for tuning into this segment of Poetry and Me. So today we are joined by Sharmay. So she'll just introduce herself.
Hello everyone, I'm Sharmay and I've been writing poetry for a while, and I started visiting spoken word and open mic nights and just dabbling with performing poetry. But mostly I write poetry. A poem a day is what I do mainly.
Fab. Let's actually dive into a poetry a day. So I follow you on your socials. And I remember when we first met at the rewrite session, you mentioned that you write a poem a day and you post it. So tell us about that. What started that? How have you kept up with it? Because you're around the 1,000 mark now, aren't you? So
Yeah,
how have you
yeah.
been doing that? That's so
So it started off in April of 2017. I think it was April the 4th.
yeah.
And it didn't start off as poetry. It just started off as me making something, one thing every day. I just wanted to challenge myself to do something creative every day. So it started off mainly as like drawing or like making earrings or just making something arts and craftsy. But then it developed into writing something every day, probably because I can write while I'm in bed. so when it gets to just before midnight, I can just get out my phone and write a poem quickly. But then it just turned into poetry writing every day. And I don't know. I don't know how. I just forced myself to do it basically. Not when I say force, I don't mean like I'm not enjoying it. I do enjoy writing the poetry. But I find that because my work is not very creative, I need to have some kind of creative outlet where I can do something creative every day. So I thought poetry. I've always loved writing poetry, even when I was a child. I used to just write it for fun, and it's a good way of making sense of your thoughts and feelings or things that have happened to you during the day. And yeah, so I find it therapeutic as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the therapeutic side. And since you mentioned you've been writing and been creative since you were a child, do you remember when when you wrote your first poem, and do you remember what it was about?
Poem. Wow. My first poem. I don't remember what it's about. It's probably about a cat or something because I really love cats.
Yes.
So it probably was something about a cat, and it was probably very, very, very young. But I know for my GCSEs, the coursework, it wasn't actually an option to write poetry, but my teacher allowed me to write poetry for my coursework, and I thought, oh, if I can write poetry, I'll do that instead of the essay or whatever it is that you want me to do. So
yes, nice.
So I got to incorporate poetry into my GCSEs. Yeah, my first poem I think was about cats. I don't have the poems, so I can't read it out.
I was about to say, do you remember it? Can you tell us what it is? But no, that's perfectly fine. I think that's a good opportunity to dive into your first poem that you'd like to share with us today.
Okay, so my first poem, I will probably pick one that I wrote on Saturday.
Oh, fab. Recent.
So it's a recent one. I won't go too far into the past just yet. Usually when I'm at spoken mics, I'll just ask people to shout out a number and then I'll pick from that. I don't know if I can do that anymore because some of them are just bizarre.
I hope you share a bizarre one today.
Okay, maybe the last one that I do, I'll just tell you to pick a number and I'll read that out.
I like that. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so this one is day 1268. So that was on Saturday. We raise girls who delight in the character of their unplucked eyebrows. They flick through magazines and spit at the sight of hair removal adverts. Near or far, these girls are on the radar. They do not go unnoticed. They sit with nostrils flared and legs akimbo in public, and glare into the eyes of those that curl their lips in disgust. These girls speak first and claim the last word too, always. And they raise their voices above the hubbub of critique. We raise girls who don't think twice about sacrificing their flawless skin to deflect bullets from the mouths of ogres. The only angle they care to perfect is CEO power pose. Their skirts hide assault rifles, and as long as waistbands stay right and tight, they do not fear the walk home from the bus stop late at night. These girls pour scorn like molten lava when they hear men making jokes about a woman's place. The silence that follows is a warning to never tell a girl she is making mountains out of molehills. These girls are the future's gift to the not so distant present, when we will begin to reflect on a past that does not glorify struggle. These girls will be and do and think and say and move and breathe and love and live fearlessly. Thank you.
That was really, really good. I really liked that line on glorifying struggle. That was a really great poem.
Thank you.
Saturday.
Thank you
wrote
very
that
much.
on Saturday. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, lately I've been struggling lately. Since Saturday, I've been struggling, and a bit of last week I was struggling as well. And then Saturday, that just came to me.
How do you get out of your writer's block? So whenever you're feeling like you have words on your heart, how do you feel like when you can't get them down? How do you get out of that?
So usually the writer's block happens when I just can't think of anything at all. If I have something that I'm passionate about that I want to talk about, usually I can always say something. It might not be too coherent at first, and I might have to go over it, but I can usually, if I have something on my mind I want to say, I can say it. But when I have writer's block, like I think it was the day before yesterday, I had writer's block and I just didn't know what to do. So I just wrote kind of like, just what am I thinking right now? Even if it's not something that's particularly interesting, I'll just write whatever I'm thinking, kind of like a free write.
Yeah.
Or I'll just think of any old topic and I'll just write anything which doesn't really seem that exciting, but I'll try and make it interesting in some way.
That's cool. I don't know if you've heard of that reminds me of the Word Spoken podcast.
Yeah.
So they have that segment at the end where they pick out a random word out of a ball and literally just run with it and write a piece. 60 seconds and you just jump into it. That definitely
so difficult. I can't do that.
I was gonna say I feel like you could maybe thrive in that project, because if you can just pick out a word and just be like, yeah, I'm gonna write a piece on that.
So there's another lady, I think her name is Deborah Stevenson, is her name. And I think she was, I don't know if she's still doing it, but at 11:58 or at a certain time every day, she was doing like getting people to do kind of poetry / free writes, and she'd give you like about 60 seconds for each. And I just find that so hard, I can't do it. When I do my daily poems, I don't confine myself to a time. I just, when it's finished, okay, it's done. I can't do the 60 seconds. No, too difficult.
I don't think I could do it either. A lot of people ask, I know because I have quite a few spoken word friends, they always say, you should try rap. You should try freestyle.
Freestyle.
I think I could do that. I don't think
no. I mean, I could write something and go away and prepare, but I can't freestyle. I would probably just stand there and be like,
my name is Amanda and it rhymes with panda. That's literally the only line I'd be able to do, and then I'll just start down.
Yeah, I'd have to do something else to distract people.
Yeah. I like it. And tell us about what it was like being featured at the Notting Hill Virtual Carnival. What was that like?
That was a lot of fun. That was really, really fun. So it firstly, it started all the way back, like a year ago. I got in touch with them and I was like, would you like someone to do poetry related to the carnival? And I thought the worst thing they can say is no, right?
Very true.
there's nothing wrong with the word no. So I asked them, they got back and they said, oh yeah, we'd be really interested in that. And then I went to meet someone there and they asked me to write a poem about the carnival, incorporating its history, maybe my own experience of the carnival, but they gave me a lot of creative freedom with it. And so I went away, wrote a poem and came back and they recorded it in their base in the tabernacle. And then coronavirus and all that stuff happened. And carnival was not going ahead. And so it was kind of put on the back burner. Maybe for next year we'll do some stuff, or maybe we'll just post it on our socials. And then about, it was like a couple of weeks before carnival, they were saying, oh, we're organizing all this stuff and we want you to record your poem. And so I was like, okay. And it was like, yeah, it's going to be in the Royal Albert Hall. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, wow. And then on the day when I got there, it was just me on the stage and they had their cameras set up and it was just amazing because I've been there before, but like to see other people performing, and it looks amazing when there's no one else in there.
I bet it's surreal. I must say, I bet it's surreal.
It was surreal, and just it felt nice though, performing my poetry there. And they said, yeah, we're going to incorporate it into the day. And Michelle, do you know Michelle Mangal, the other girl who?
Yes.
So she got to do hers as well. Her poem was really good as well.
It was.
And yeah, it was just a very exciting day. And it just came from me, literally. I asked them, can I do this?
Yeah.
And they said yes. If anyone else had asked, they probably would have said yes to someone else as well. So that's one of my life mottos. Like, if you don't ask, you don't get.
That's it. Closed mouths don't get fed.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to put yourself out there to receive certain things. You need to actually put yourself out there. Put yourself in the room.
Exactly.
I like that. Yeah, that's definitely a key takeaway. To definitely put yourself out there in certain situations, because it's definitely paid off. Oh my God, that's amazing. It would be great if we could hear that poem today. And I'll definitely put the link in on your social so that they can see it within the Royal Albert Hall.
Okay. You've seen this view many times before, at the pinnacle of Ladbroke Grove for sure. Dead ahead, through penetrating squint, Hammersmith and City Line carriages catch sunlight's glint. The undulating current of people below, where bodies move like waters ebb and flow. A wet, shimmering mirage of human skin, of reveller and spectator, of stranger and kin. Fling a rag, wave a flag, bodies intermingle. The sight and the sounds make your neck back tingle. Anticipation of celebration, elation, intoxication. Feeling collective vibrations in the stomping of feet, moving to the rhythm of a heady soca beat. The sweet vibes of the street and its liveliness meet at the needle-sharp point of a prickly heat that blunts with the exhale of a carnival Monday sigh. When the light begins to fade and the end of festivities draw nigh. But you're still loyal to the center of the road, because feet are still firmly in Carnival Sunday mode. Since Crossfire made you sing The Road Is Mine, and you can still hear Mashelle telling you one more time. But with your cup of energy finally running empty, your mind takes the baton, replaying Carnival memories aplenty. So if you close your eyes, let today melt into yesteryear. Reach out for what you can feel and listen for what you can hear. The 1960s, humble beginnings of NHC, a community street festival of unity. Ronnie Laslet's vision, Russell Henderson, jazz musician, easing racial tension, nurturing local cohesion. The sweet sounds of Pan, stealing the vibrancy of Portobello, coaxing people to follow the tuneful rhythms mellow. And 20 years into the future accelerate, Panorama, Kensal Road, Saturday night late. Panists playing passionately in competition for the glory of the coveted pole position. A wall of sound reverberating off illuminated red-bricked buildings. Steel band flag carriers vigorously flag wielding. Panists serve their painstaking practice and dedication, each note thoroughly rehearsed to perfection. The inevitable enthusiasm-charged glissando tests fast hands culminating in magical crescendo. The two-tiered float rocks with a jumping rhythm, and the people feel the energy the music gives them. But back to present day. If you're feeling carnival to banker, keep in mind 2021 as your comforting anchor.
It really is my comforting anchor. It is my comforting.
I know, another year to wait.
I genuinely felt like I was at carnival, I must say. You took me there. You in literally every sense that you have, you took it. Like the noises, the feeling, the emotion you feel, the joy.
I was trying to take myself there because I knew I wasn't going to be there this year.
Yeah, unfortunately, but next year, 2021, we were there for sure.
Yes.
Sure. So thank you so much for sharing that. That was an amazing poem.
Thank you.
So tell us more about like your creative process. If you've got that passion, because we talked about when you don't really have that fire for a poem, when you do have the fire for a poem, how do you get that onto the page?
So usually it starts with maybe I've seen something, I've watched something, or I've heard something, and I'll think of just a line and I'll think that's the beginning of a poem, and I'll just write it out. Mm-hmm. And then it just starts, the rest of it just starts coming out. Mm-hmm. So I usually find when I find like one line, the rest of it just flows. So I don't know, it's very difficult to explain because some days I don't have the line. When I have the line, on those days, it just feels like very natural, and it happens very quickly. So if I don't get it out within like a space of half an hour, mm-hmm. I can't get anything out. Okay. So if I have the idea in my head, I have to stop whatever I'm doing and I have to write right then, because in half an hour I won't have it anymore. It'll be gone.
It'll be gone. Yeah, definitely. That's for me. It's exactly the same, especially with my notes page. You'll find so many little one-liners, and like if I don't feel it, like I don't feel like there's anything after that, I'll go back to it's when you're looking on your phone and then you're like, oh, that was a good line. Oh,
yeah.
Something today on that. No, yeah, I definitely feel you. Definitely. Yeah. So one thing I always ask everybody that I'm interviewing, just a random question. So if you could spend the day with one person, the whole day, 24 hours, dead or alive, who would you spend it with and why?
Dead or alive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. It took me a minute to answer it for myself, to be fair.
People I might want to... maybe Maya Angelou.
Oh, good one. Why would you go for, why have you gone for her?
Firstly, even if I had no questions for her, I think she would just be giving out nuggets of wisdom. True. And even if I didn't ask for her to recite poetry, mm-hmm. I think whatever she would be saying would be poetry anyway. Mm-hmm. I think from her life experiences, just everything about her just seemed so calming and so profound, the things that she said, and just really inspirational. Yep. So I feel like anything that she would offer, that she would say to me, would be useful. Yes. For life.
100%. No, I like that perspective. No, that was a good answer. So let us know where we can find you on social media.
My main page as well, which is at 758.767. Mm-hmm. And that's just the area code of St. Lucia and Dominica, which is where my parents are from.
Yeah, I love that.
And I mainly just use Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. I do have YouTube where I post my videos, my stop motion videos as well. And that you can find via my main Instagram page.
Okay. In the bio, link in bio.
Yes, yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for coming, and
thank you for inviting me to talk.
Oh no, it's okay. Like, I think your work, like the fact that you write a poem every day, it's so inspiring, especially when I'm going through my feed and I see your poetry. It really just makes me feel like I should be writing. Like, I've got stuff to say. Let me write something down. So you're definitely an inspiration personally to me. So I'm so happy that you were able to come on and be interviewed by myself. Definitely, everybody, I'll put your socials in my description so they can go and follow you. Thank you so much for coming.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe or follow, depending where you're watching. Everybody have a great day. See you later.